Hello everyone, odedex here, welcome to episode 139 of Into Let's Play. So in the previous episode I started creating all sorts of limits and capacities for my different traps and different farms. You can see that the ender farm is kind of turned off. Those guys are still here for some reason, don't know why, but they'll soon disappear. You can actually see that the trap is turned off. And same with my spider farm is turned off. The gas farm is still running because I haven't reached the 4096 gas tiers mark yet, but you can see that it's turned off. So again, still waiting for the Galgadorian cart to finish. I'm gonna continue with the same theme, at least the beginning of the episode, to cap some other things that I wanted to do. Mainly, I'm gonna begin with the wool farm. Now, the wool farm inherently works different than the other three things that I placed this wireless limit on. So it's not going to work the same way, but it's still something that I should do nevertheless because of the way it works and because some wool types have reached their cap. I got gray, which actually pulled some off. You can see I even exceeded the cap, and black, I've reached the cap as well. So whenever I reach a cap with something, I'd like to actually turn it off completely. So let's go ahead and do that. Now off screen, I went ahead and added the item regulator, the red power regulator recipe to my plan logistics because I'm actually gonna need it, and I'm going to 16 of them. So I kind of came up with some sophisticated method on how exactly to limit the wool production. And actually I think it's extremely simple to implement and also very simple to explain. So let's go ahead and start building it. It's going to require 16 regulators. That's the unfortunate part, but that's pretty much the best way I could think of on how I want to do this. So let's go ahead and craft one. Let's get the one that I have. And actually, do I happen to have any more? Okay, I have this 5. Okay, so I only need 11 more. So that's a good thing because it's kind of a long process to craft them, because you need the red dot wafers for them and so on. So it's kind of a little bit not as simple process to make, so it's gonna require some time. So while this is cooking, let's set up the rest of the things. So let me actually go ahead and explain on how exactly it works. Once the regulators will be placed, it will be easier to explain, but regulators have a very nice property to them, that whenever they are full, whenever their inner buffer is full, they emit a redstone signal. And that's exactly what I'm looking for, because with that redstone signal, which will be shared within all 16 regulators, I can lock the timer, which obviously is the one operating the farm. Now, to begin with, actually would like to move it around to make it more accessible. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get some glass so I can rebuild all the missing things that will be missing, and let's get some cobblestone so I have something to work with. And let's go ahead and break it. So this lever goes away, this goes away. I will need this to still be here. Let's go ahead and rotate it and rotate this. This actually will be easier. So go like this, and this will be the red alloy wire. And from here, I'm gonna access the timer actually. So this is, you know what, basically pretty much nothing changed. I will need some jacketed wire though. So let's get some. Now, it might be a little bit hard to understand when I'm not building this, but the moment it will be built, you'll understand it like in a second, because it's extremely simple. So let's connect the signal from here, so the timer basically will move up here. Let's have... okay, let's this, and this change into cobblestone. The timer will be here. We'll run again on that 10 seconds intervals. This will be alloy wire, this will be jacketed wire. And I can re-implement the lever if I really want to. So there is still a manual shut-off system if I really want to, but it's not a must. And from that alloy wire there will be jacketed wire connected like this, going down, and into here. Okay, so let's start changing things. So actually, you know what? Let's turn off the timer, so no wool tries to flow through the network. So, and let's break stuff. So all those tubes are going away. They'll all be replaced with regulators, which will be directly connected to the barrels themselves. I'm still gonna, unlike, for example, my leather farm and meat farm, which is right here, I'm still gonna use the barrels for the wool. Mainly because it just looks nice. I like the way that it kind of shows you all the different colors available. So even though I can access it all from the applied logistics, I just think it looks kind of awesome. Let's see if the regulators are finished. No, still working on some, so I'm gonna kind of build without them. So let's place some redstone pneumatic tubes, not normal pneumatic tubes. They'll all be connected on the same signal, of course. When the last one is connected to the actual jacketed wire. Now right now it's turned on because this lever is turned on, but it will be turned off when it's finished. And now I can actually start taking out the regulators. Got 11 at the moment. Let's start. Oh wait, okay, that's exactly the 16 because I had 5. And simply place them all facing up. So all their entry points is from the top slot. They're all facing into the tubing network. And actually their operation state will be by default the normal state. I don't want to change any of that, so that will be still remaining here. And what I'm simply going to do is take every color and place it in the corresponding inventory slot here. So black goes into here, red goes into here. Basically every regulator will accept the right color for its things. Why are things being collected? Oh, it was a backlog of black wool. Okay, so that's fine. So this goes here, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish this. Okay, so now every regulator has the corresponding wool color, and the way it's going to work is first let's actually turn off the lever again, so you'll be able to see that this still runs the same way pretty much. There is no difference to the way it runs, the farm runs. But I still have all the excess gray wool, and the gray wool is pretty much the first wool that I actually have a lot of access of, so you can see it working. So if I start dumping all that gray wool into the system, and I'm actually going to use the relay so you can see it happening as it should happen. So if I dump 1 stack of gray wool, obviously it makes its way to the right regulator, right over here, so it's get pushed in. If I get another gray wool, it does the same thing. Actually, you know what? Because I used this inner buffer regulator, there is no problem. That's actually kind of derpy. But as you can see, there was this slight moment of redstone signal going through, and that's because the inner buffer was full. And this is what I'm going for. Basically, a regulator will always try to push items into the corresponding barrel, but the moment it can't push anymore... Actually, I want it at this mode, I think. Oh no, wait, I wanted it this mode. Basically, when it cannot push the wool anymore, that's when it will send the redstone signal, and that's when that redstone signal will go through and basically lock the timer. So logically, what I'm saying is whenever one of those wool color reaches the capacity of which it can hold, turn off the entire farm. And this is basically what I wanted to do. Now, obviously, if I reach the capacity with, for example, let's filter out wool. For example, I have the most of gray wool, so I assume gray wool will be the first one to reach the highest amount. Obviously, I'm still gonna have a low amount of pink wool, but overall, when you think about wool, you never need that much of any color, pretty much. And to be honest, when I build anything with wool, I usually just pick the one which I have the most of basically. So. That's pretty much the project completed. This is what I wanted to do. So again, let's go ahead and just dump all the excess that I still have on me. This lime and blue wool into the right. You can just dump it into the relay, find its way there. Why did it bounce back? Oh, I know why it bounced back. Okay. because the regulator can only accept up to 1 stack of wool, and it already had some wool in it, and that's pretty much it. The thing is that regulators don't really like barrels too much, so that mode of interacting with the corresponding inventory doesn't exactly work as you would expect. So that's kind of unfortunate, but it's still functionality. It will still do the same thing as far as I know, and I'm gonna simply let it run and see when and if it breaks. Alright, so this farm is capped, this farm is capped, my seed farm is capped, and it's already spilling a lot of stuff. Good thing I have the vacuum cleaner add-on, because it simply doesn't have enough inventory space. This I must say that it does look really funny. But there's nothing I can do about it, pretty much. When my farm will be full of seeds and stuff, it will simply stop, and that's pretty much planned. I don't really want to collect anything, so it will keep going, and then it will stop again, and then the farm will fully grow again, but what can you do about it? Okay, so those two farms are capped, even my seed farm is capped. Next, I actually want to implement something into my mushroom farm, and you can see it right here. This is something that I actually also implemented right here in the form of this timer, which is simply kind of a fail-safe mechanism, because sometimes for unknown reason, maybe just as the chunk updates or just something happens at the same time and the rest of signaling doesn't go through properly, you get this remaining block right here, and that when that happens, the entire farm gets stuck, because the signal will be permanently locked, and because this is a pulse former, it will never go through, and you're pretty much screwed. Like, there is no way around this. The farm is blocked. There is, of course, the option of me breaking this manually, but this is not something I want to do. So the way I can fix it, though, is by implementing a failsafe timer. Now I'm thinking on the right place to do this, and I'm pretty sure that where I want to do this will be right here. Yeah, let me get, I'm gonna need a level emitter. I'm gonna need a repeater, a timer, and some alloy wire. I like the fact that I can access everything wirelessly. This is extremely convenient. Okay, so I'm also going to make this a little bit upgraded compared to what I did here, and maybe I'm going to change this one later as well, which is also to turn off the failsafe when it's not supposed to run. So, for example, this one will emit a signal when I have less mushrooms, although logically right here I'm looking for true. For the timer I'm logically looking for false, but I'm going to get to it in a second. Okay, so let's implement the timer. So I'm gonna need something that will tick into here, basically turning this entire logic again, but I want it to be resetted every time it shouldn't run. So let's have a timer a repeater right here. Let's get some more dirt blocks. Let's have a dirt block right here, another repeater. Actually, no, I don't need another repeater. Okay, so this is a timer. Okay, yeah, so this is a timer. Okay, let's delay it. Okay, so it went through only once. And I'm gonna send a signal, a red alloy wire signal, every time this counter reaches kind of its reset point. I can pretty much declare this timer as unnecessary, so it will reset itself. You can guys see it happening in a second. Just like this. There you go. The timer is resetted, so it knows not to go through again. So that's intended. Let's make this cycle a lot longer. Let's make it every 5 minutes. Okay, so every 5 minutes it will go through. It will go through the failsafe mechanism in case it got stuck again. However, if I have more than 4096 mushrooms, wait, I'm looking for, let's see, if I have when, yeah, if I have more than 4096 mushrooms, emit a redstone signal. And I'm going to use some cables to connect it to the rest of the network. Oops. Okay, so when you look at the level emitters, they're kind of sending the different signals. Like this will emit when I have less than the mushrooms, and this will emit when I have more than the mushrooms. Because logically, I'm looking for the opposite signals. This will mean basically turn off the failsafe mechanism because I did reach the correct amount. But this will, this logically means, okay, keep going, I still haven't got the correct amount. So they are looking for the opposite signals. And the repeater right here is basically to separate the signal from here, causing this to go crazy. So this is why this repeater is in place. And pretty much this is now fixed. So this will always run, and in case it gets stuck, every 5 minutes the failsafe will go through, the process of failsafe will go through to make sure that nothing like this happens again. But then again, when I reach the top limit that I've set, which is the 4096, it will stop running. And actually, let's take a look. Oh, that three of the fourth way there, three fourths, whatever, 3/4. Okay, so that's also taken care of. Now, lastly, while I'm still at the process of limiting all my different farms, another farm which I can basically, my first ever farm, which is the Blaze farm was the first one, the Wither Skeletons farm, which produces wither skeleton skulls, it produces bones, and it produces coal. Now, the thing is about the Wither Skeleton farm, I actually use bones, not quite a lot, but I do use bones. I use them both in here, in the bone meal thingy, and also in here. I use the bone meal as the fertilizer, which is right here. You can see it right here. But also since they drop the Wither Skulls, it's kind of a farm that produces two products that I'm interested in, and because of it, I'm going to look for both of them. Like, I'm going to check both of them. Now, something I will want to do is also get rid of the disposing of bones, because since now I'm going to check for bones as an actual product, I'm going to make sure that it's not being disposed of when I have too much of it. So, like, it won't check for it and also get disposed of it, because that's kind of silly. And I'm gonna need a lot of wireless things. I'm gonna need a receiver. I'm gonna need a transmitter. I'm going to need an end gate. Probably gonna need some jacketed wire and some alloy wire. Maybe some jacketed wire as well. And pretty much if I need anything else, I'm gonna just come here and get it. Let's set it up. So I can very nicely, let's just... Okay, so I'm looking for two signals basically. Let's go ahead and set it up right here. Just will be a lot more convenient. Okay, let's do it right here. Okay, so that will be an AND gate, which will be looking only for the left signal and the back signal, because that's the two inputs I'm gonna use. Which will emit into the wireless transmitter that I'm gonna place right here and create a new signal, which will be 23. Wither Skulls Farm. Set name. Okay, so that AND gate will check for two signals, and I'm actually gonna need another level emitter because of it. Okay. Night is coming down. Let's quickly go ahead and sleep. Okay, so I'm looking for two signals in this farm. I'm interested in two products basically, both the skulls and the bone meal. So this is why I'm going to check for two signals. I'm going to send... Okay, so logically this AND gate will be turning off the farm. So turn off the farm if I have more than 4096 bones, emit when I have above the limit, and emit when I have more than 4096 Wither Skeleton Skulls. Now again, logically this means turn off, so at the moment I have both of them at the excess amount, so I can go ahead and place the receiver, and basically the farm will be turned off. So let's make my way to the farm. Right here. And the access point is on the top. And there is some silly business going on here. Okay, so let's do some things. So first, get this. Move this lever to the side. And I know I just turned it off, I know. Okay, let's turn it on. We'll need so... Whoa! Okay, so now let's go ahead and set up the receiver. So I'm simply gonna place this block right here, and the receiver will be right here, which will be receiving on Wither Skull's farm frequency. And obviously right now it's turned on because both signals are now going through, and the end gate is working. But for an example, and by the way, this is now pretty much working. Let me actually just show you how it works. Since it's now checking for two products, if I take any one of them out, such as bones, if I take, let's have the signal kind of in the background, kind of like this. Okay, you can see both of them signals right now. If I go ahead and take some bones out, beyond the 4096 mark, one of those will go off, this one specifically, and now the wireless signal goes through again. So the farm is now working again until the moment where I reach 4096 again. Obviously I'm going to dump all of this back inside here because I don't need it on me. So it's going to be turned off again, and the farm will stop working again. And with that in mind, I think I pretty much turned off all my farms. What's going on? Where is my golem? Where is my farming golem? Did he get lost? There is some silly business going on here. Where's my farming golem? Well, I don't know. But how am I doing on melons and pumpkins? Pretty good, so... Why is he broken? I have noticed I'm getting a lot of problems with the fact that my bee apiaries is very close to my farm, so they kind of grow flowers here all the time. However, it doesn't answer the question of where the hell is my farming golem. My straw golem, to be more precise. Okay, I don't know. But it's not so important because at the moment I don't really need pumpkins and melons. However, that's kind of annoying because I have no clue why he disappeared. Okay, so looking at all my excess products, the last thing I actually want to change is the thing with coal. This is the idea one of you gave me, and it's actually something I'm going to go through with because why not? It's kind of something fun to do. It's actually very easy to do as well. So let's start implementing this. So the next project I'm going to do is again getting rid of one of those disposable materials thingy. However, this one is a product of my red power quarry, which is basically coal. And it's not a product of a specific farm, so it's not. I'm not gonna turn off anything, but it's gonna still be logically doing something else other than void piping stuff. So let's go ahead and start looking into it. Now the idea here is basically Industrial Craft 2 gives you a method to turn coal into diamonds. And by the way, in the real world, that also kind of works. Not exactly the same way, but it also kind of works because both coal and diamonds are made of carbon, and it just they're not exactly the same, but eventually they're the same material, same forgot the name, but they're still the same thing. Anyway. Industrial Craft gives you the method to do this. It's kind of a long process, but eventually it yields a diamond. So the way it works, you can pulverize or macerate coal into coal dust. Using coal dust with a flint in the middle, so 8 coal dust and a flint gives you the coal ball. The coal ball, whoops. Okay, so the coal ball is then can be compressed into a compressed coal ball, and 8 of those with the use of obsidian gives you a coal chunk, and that compressed gives you a diamond. So let's actually quickly calculate this, how many coal goes for 1 diamond, and that's of course disregarding the fact that you still need obsidian and flint to do this, something to keep in mind. Okay, so 8 coal for 8 coal dust, so 8 times 8 for 8 of those. Basically, for every 64 coal, you get 1 diamond, with the use of 3 compression recipes and also obsidian and flint. It might be a little too easy, maybe, like 64 coal is equivalent to 1 diamond. Some of you may disagree with it, but since it might feel like this because I have so much coal, usually coal is a lot more precious than what I seem to make it look like, just because I have so much of it. But I will go ahead and actually make that recipe. So first, let's go ahead and kill my void piping of coal. So that's going away. So coal is no longer being void piped. It's gonna start accumulating. However, it's gonna change in a minute. So you should start seeing it appearing over here. How am I doing over here? Okay, it's pretty fine. So now with that gone, let's go ahead and start making the recipe of crafting it. Now, something I do need to keep in mind is that obsidian is also a part of the recipe. In obsidian, I don't yet have a way to craft. I'm not going to use equivalent exchange. This is a little bit too cheap, mainly because wood is so easily achieved, while obsidian isn't. I can use Stone of Alchemist to craft it, but then again, it feels a little bit too cheap. This is interesting. Can use... Well, logically it makes sense, although usually to craft obsidian you need flowing water and a lava source block, and that's basically... And that recipe is 2 source blocks of water and 2 source blocks of lava, so that's kind of unfair. But I think forgot the name of the block. Thermal expansion gives you a method to craft it very conveniently with the igneous extruder. You still have to supply it with lava and water, but it's very conveniently crafted. And basically using, I think, one lava bucket, and I think just a little bit of water gives you an obsidian. So I can go ahead and add that system to my plan logistics, pretty much. Okay, now let's just go ahead and add that system to craft obsidian into my system. It will be relatively easy. I will use only one igneous extruder. I'm going to go ahead and... Actually, I already forgot how was I making the rest of those recipes. It was quite some time ago. And I probably... Oh, okay, I don't need to expand the room. Or maybe just a little bit. Okay, so it should be relatively easy. It's gonna be logically working differently though than what I've done so far, but it will be relatively easy. Okay, let's start building it. Again, unlike the other things here, this also requires buildcraft energy, so I'm gonna need to take that in mind, to keep that in mind. Let's kind of just build it right over here. It will be very easily accessible to buildcraft energy, and it should be relatively okay. So let's do that. Let's kind of expand into the wall right here. Okay, so I made this small 3x2 into the wall, 3x3 2 blocks inside. This should be relatively easy to implement, so let's go ahead and do this. This is kind of different than what I've done so far, but it will still be working, obviously. Okay, so I'm gonna place it like this, on purpose, and the liquid inputs will be on the two sides, just like it is by default. Let's turn off the rest of everything. Actually, let's rotate it to the back. So let's use the Omni wrench and rotate it to the back, so the front is kind of looking at the back. The back slot will be the kind of this thingy. This is the only way to interface with Applied Energistics, pretty much. And it will work only on redstone signal. Signal required high. So only when it receives the redstone signal, it will turn on. Okay? So I'm gonna have the level emitter right here. But I need some obsidian. Really dipping low. I used to have a 700 obsidian. Really dipping low into this. Okay, so the level emitter will look again for the same number. I was like using the 1496 level capacity, the limit thingy. And it will emit a signal when I have less than that amount of obsidian. I'm going to need, now remember I made it a couple of episodes ago, a lot of episodes ago, access to both infinite water and infinite lava. The infinite lava took some time to get to it, but it's now pretty much working. And infinite water. Infinite lava, I may need to look into it soon, but it's working nevertheless. So I'm going to place each one of those here in each side of the igneous extruder. They will be refilling those tanks, and you can see it now creates the obsidian. Now this blocks goes away. It will be the import bus. So import bus, just like this, and this will be a normal cable. Import bus will always be active, and it will be a stack at a time. So you can pretty much see how it works. Since I have in theory infinite supply of lava and water, that's not a problem, but the igneous extruder will only work when I have, let's actually change that to this number, as long as I have less than the amount of obsidian that I want, which is the 1495, and I changed that number because just some logic, the minor logic with the way these machines work. This will basically keep working and keep pulling obsidian out into my system as long as I have less than that amount, but when I do, it won't craft it anymore, even though the supply of lava and water is here, because it's gonna react to redstone, and when it doesn't receive that signal that it's looking for, it's gonna stop. So that's actually quite a simple thing to do. And of course it made so convenient because I do have an infinite supply of lava and water, which I did, it did take some time to get to, so that's kind of, it will be unfair to say that it's unbalanced, because getting to that point where I have a nice supply of lava and water wasn't so easy. Even though water was relatively easy, lava was annoying. Okay, so that's process taken care of, so now I pretty much got also a supply of obsidian into my system, so that's a good thing. Because I started using obsidian lately, this is kind of dipped. I used to have like 800 and now I just had 400, so that's kind of serious. But nevertheless, it's now working, so I got myself also a supply of... oh wait, the silly business is actually... Oh wait, right, igneous extruder don't need the buildcraft energy, so I forgot to connect it and I didn't realize why it was working for a second there. But yeah, it's working without buildcraft energy. Good to know, actually. Anyway, I'm gonna get to the actual diamond production in the next episode. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.